All right, everybody, I'm really excited for this section. A couple of things. One, we have a very special guest, my wife, Jenna, joining us for this business series. And secondly, I'm excited because this is something I get asked a lot about from my students. So we've talked to you a lot about graphic design, but now we're going to teach you about the freelancing side of it and the business end of it. So I'm going to go ahead and hand it over to Jenna, who's going to be instructing you on this series.
Yeah, I'm super excited to be taking over Derek's course a little bit here. For the last 10 years, I've been in charge of all of the boring business side of running our company. Whether you are just trying to get side work here and there, or if you want to freelance full time, or if down the road you want to start your own design or whatever agency, you need to know how to do it. I mean, you have to know invoicing, you have to know time tracking, you have to know how to legally set things up so it doesn't come back to bite you later. We're going to talk about all of that, and I'm really excited because like Derek said, a lot of you are ready to dive into this. You've put in all the hard work, you've learned a ton, and now you're ready to start turning that knowledge in your head into money.
And I got to cut in real quick. So I think a lot of us as artists just glazed over as you started talking about time tracking and invoicing and billing, right? So first thing, I want to encourage you, you can do this. I believe in you. I got lucky that I have her to do this for me, but it's not that hard. And when we first started, it was very, 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 very basic. So what I mean by that is our invoices were literally, I would track my time with a pencil on a piece of paper, and then I would later throw that into an Excel spreadsheet, and I put my logo at the top, which was terrible, and send it to the client, and they send us a check. Like, it was that basic, really.
Right.
So, I mean, we don't have to do, it's not complicated.
Yes.
We just want to show you the basics, right? Get you started so that way you can start immediately landing some real work, getting paid, and starting to support this for you as a career.
Right. And we want to get it right at the beginning because it's way harder. We know this too from other things. It's way harder to try to shift gears once you've been doing something for a long time and then you're like, oh, this isn't working, or I'm not very organized, or I'm losing money because I don't know how much time I'm actually spending. So you want to get it right at the very beginning so that you can make it work for you and not be trying to catch up the whole time.
Yep. So really excited about the section. And the last thing I want to say is for those of you, I know I keep harping on that Facebook group, but again, another really good reason to join that Facebook group is to get support from peers who are doing the same thing, who are coming through this, as well as Jen and I jump in there and we can answer your questions that way. So take a second after this video, make sure you're in that group if you're not already. And in the next section, what are we going to talk about?
We're going to talk about diving in, the legal side of things, and how to make sure that you're set up to actually collect payments.
Awesome. All right, well, let's do this.
All right. So in this lecture, we are going to talk to you about setting up your business and receiving payments. Two hugely important things because if you don't have a way to collect money, you can't ever get paid. So first, as a huge disclaimer, neither one of us are legal or financial professionals.
I think they know that. But we have to say it. All right.
Yes. So any and all advice that we're giving you is based on our experience and things that we've tried and that have worked. But depending on where you live, especially if you live outside of the United States, make sure that you check into all of this for yourself and see what your specific area requires of you. Do you have anything else to add to that?
No, I would just say, so again, this is all based on our experience in the United States. So we have roughly 180 different countries represented in this course for Udemy.
Yeah.
And we'd love your feedback. Jump into that Facebook group. If it is wildly different or if we're telling lies, let us know so we can obviously correct the video, but also so we can make sure that we're all learning from this, because the goal is to get you up and running, get you making money, get you successful. So
awesome.
So with that disclaimer out of the way, let's jump in.
Diving in. So first things first, how do you actually go from being like, I want to work for myself and make money, to making sure that that is a reality? So you could go as simple as just using your name, and if you live in the United States, your social security number, and you would just claim any money that you make on your own personal taxes. That's the easy way to do it. All the way to the more difficult, like what we've done, where you actually set up an LLC or an S corporation or something like that, to be kind of a firewall between you and the people that you do work for. It is a little bit of an extra expense.
Well, not even just the people you do work for. So case in point, let's pretend that we didn't do something right in our business. Whether that was negligence or
didn't credit a graphic that we used or something.
Let's just say that somehow we made a big financial oops, and either we owed in taxes, or there's some sort of legal liability. Maybe somebody tried to sue us because, yeah, we sold a graphic. Didn't know it, but doesn't matter. Let's just say they come after us, all right? They could only legally take everything the business has and not dip into our personal pockets, right? So they couldn't take our house from us. We'd still be protected. They couldn't take our vehicles because those are in our personal names and things like that. So that's why you want to have, when she says a firewall, a way to protect you from, the oopses that could happen, right?
Exactly. Yeah. And not only that, but if you decide that down the line you want to do more than just have a few freelance side gigs here and there, and you want to make this a big business with employees, you'll have already done that legwork, which is another reason why we did that, because we had vision casted and we knew that our goal a few years down the line was going to be to bring on a couple subcontractors. So it set us up beautifully for that. And the cost for that is going to vary depending on what country you're in. Registering a business name may be a lot, it may be a little. For us, I think it was $350 all said and done, and that was for an actual lawyer to go in and do all the paperwork for ourselves. I know you can do it on your own online also.
So another story for that. In college, my roommate had set up his own business license. He was an IT guy, so he was going into to different companies and helping them with all their virus software and fixing computers, whatever. So he did his license online. I think it cost him $20 to register with the state or with I don't know if it was a federal IRS thing. I don't know, because I didn't do ours. What happened was, because of that, I wanted to make sure I knew it was correct. So we went and actually found an actual attorney to set that up for us, and his hourly rate was like $150 an hour. It took him a couple hours, so that's why it was like $350 for us.
Right, but then it was just done. Yeah. We knew it was done. We also have on our business team, I guess you could say, is a CPA. And a CPA is an accountant that basically knows everything we do not know. They know all of the new laws and regulations that happen, so that when it does come time to pay our taxes, we give him everything and he makes the magic happen, and we don't even need to really think about it that much. And for us, that has been great because, again, we are not financial or legal wizards, and it's important to bring people alongside yourself to help you do what you do better. Because sure, one person can do everything, and for a while maybe you will, maybe you're it's easy enough and simple enough that you can, but you might find down the road that it's nice to have this team built around you that can help you devote your time to what you're good at, and they can handle everything else. Good?
It's good.
All right, awesome. So then let's move on to point number 2 of this lecture, which is how to receive payments. And again, depending on where you live in the world, this is going to be different. I know, for example, PayPal doesn't service every country out there, but they're moving towards that. But so for us, when we are receiving payments, we receive payments in one of 3 ways. We receive check or cash from directly from our clients. We receive money from PayPal, or we receive money from Stripe. Now, there's a ton of other apps, obviously, that you can use. I know a lot of people use the Cash app. But regardless of how you do it, you want to make it as easy as possible for your clients to give you their money.
Right.
As easy as possible.
Right.
And again, depending on where you live, this could be different. But if you offer both, say, PayPal, or you accept cash, or you accept personal checks, for example, that lets them you do whatever works for them. And the great thing about PayPal, as a little side note in case you don't know, PayPal, you can pay directly with funds that are in a PayPal account, or it'll work as a payment processor for any major credit card. So even if your clients don't have their own PayPal account, they can still use PayPal to give you credit card funds, which is a nice little thing. And it's protected, which is awesome.
Another service that we've only recently started, we didn't actually use with our clients, but in instructing, we actually pay our TA for helping us.
Yes.
And she's in another country. So we use TransferWise for that. And so they take a small percentage from those funds when we make the deposit. But for those of you who maybe are doing international work into a country where maybe PayPal doesn't work, you could consider TransferWise, and there's a handful of other ones as well.
Yeah. No matter what you use, though, make sure that it is reputable. Make sure that it is protected. And by that, I mean that they have in their user information that you can see what happens if fraud happens on my account, what happens if my account gets hacked, what happens if money gets transferred on accident and I want to get it back. You need to make sure that they have systems already in place to help fight for you if that happens, so that you're not just out whatever money gets lost.
And I would say, I don't want to tangent too much, but a footnote to that is a way to protect yourself is if you break your projects up into phases, right? So let's say you're only getting paid a small percentage.
Right.
Let's say something were to happen versus losing thousands of dollars in one payment if you break it up, right?
Yeah. Awesome.
That's all I mean. Is like
and we'll
if
talk
you're,
more
if you're
about
doing,
that later.
yeah,
But
exactly.
yeah.
If you're going to do an online service like that, maybe feel more comfortable breaking up payments.
Right. So it's not just one lump sum. Cool.
All right.
Well, that's it for this video. In our next video, I can't wait to talk to you about, let me look. Well, we're going to talk about tracking time and creating invoices.
Oh my gosh.
Can't wait.
I love her so much. All right, in this section, we're going to talk about time tracking. And not even just time tracking, but how we keep track of our projects, and then also how we pass those on to our clients so we can actually get paid for the time that we've put in.
Yes.
All right.
Oh, me. Okay, let's do this. So, first of all, I want to kind of throw a caveat out there and say that not always are projects billed by the hour. A lot of times we bill per project, and it just honestly depends on how big the project is and how comfortable you are with an hourly rate versus a project rate. The benefit to both, and there's cons as well. So hourly. Let's say you have a high hourly rate, and that's neither good nor bad, but let's say that you have one. That may be a turnoff to clients, but a client that may be unwilling to pay you $100 an hour to create a business card maybe would be willing to pay you $150 for the project, not knowing or realizing that it only takes an hour and a half of your time to complete that project. So you need to kind of figure this out, what works for you. I know that for us, it was a lot of trial and error in the beginning.
Well, and as you get better, as you get faster, you make less money if you charge per hour.
Charge per
Does
hour.
that mean that your time and your skills are worth less? No, it doesn't. So that's why an estimate for the project typically works out better as you get better.
Right. And so what I did is after we had quite a few projects under our belt that we had done hourly, I did the soul crushing work of going back through, and I analyzed everything that Derek had done and how long it was taking him, and I created a spreadsheet of sorts. And again, this is the boring stuff, but I figured out approximately how long he was spending on certain projects, and I said, okay, if it takes him on average 10 hours to build a website, let's just say, how much is that worth? What does that translate to hourly? And then I could cross-check them against one another to make sure that even if we were throwing a project price out to a client, that it still shook down to an hourly rate that he would be okay with, if that makes sense. And so make sure that when you're thinking of what this looks like for you, consider value that the client is willing to put towards that project. You know, how much do they think it might be worth? How much time you honestly think it will take you to complete it. And then as a safe rule of thumb for us, I always added 15 to 20% onto my estimates just to allow for
I would honestly,
crazy things that happen, because crazy things will happen. They'll ask for an extra revision. It'll take you a little bit longer to complete something because your brain just isn't in it. Whatever it is, give yourself.
I would honestly add 20% to any project. Anything you think. Let's even numbers here. Let's say it was $1,000 project. I would immediately add 20% on top of that from the get-go and hand it to your clients that way. Because then one of two things happens: either it protects you, or at the end of this thing, maybe you really did estimate well, or estimate your project well, and you can pass that savings on to your client and you look like a hero. So it's really
and we've
not...
done that before, where we say, hey, great news, here's your files.
Under budget. And,
under budget, it's only going to be $900 instead. And maybe it took you way less than you thought, but then it's a win for everybody.
Yeah, versus the alternative, you say, it'll only cost you $1,000, and then you send them an invoice for $1,800, nearly double.
Right.
You're going to upset some clients and lose people real quick.
Yep.
Good. So.
All right. So within all of this, it raises the question of, okay, well, how do I track my time? How do I figure out what that project is worth? And then how do I prove to my client, this is the time that was spent, this is what was done, and here's how much you owe me? There are so many different ways to do this. There's people that track time on an app on their phone. There's people that do it all in Google Docs. There's people that do Excel, like Derek mentioned earlier, that he used to do when we first started. For the last probably 6-7 years,
at least.
Has it been that long? We've used an online app called Harvest, and I don't know about you, but I love it. It makes my job on the back end of our business so easy. I can create reports. I can edit and update invoices as needed. It stores individual project information. If we have a different hourly rate for one project than for another, like maybe we're working for a charity and we've discounted our rate for them, it can take all of that into consideration. It's, what is it now? $12 a month.
Well, so you can
super
start. You can start a free account actually, and I think
Yeah.
you can track up to. Well, this is going to change, but I think it's up to 3 projects for free. So honestly, for most of you starting out, you won't need to pay anything to get into this. Worst case scenario, once you start having more clients. It's like $12 a month, and at that point, I would say that's
if you have that many projects, it's paying for itself.
It should more than pay for itself.
Yeah.
With how quickly you can export and generate reports.
Exactly.
So for me, why I like it, I can come into my laptop and I can log into it on their website and I can start my timer. Right?
And you can do that from any laptop.
From any laptop, from
it's
anywhere.
Like the
log
cloud.
in. Right. It is.
Yeah.
It's a software as a service provider. So. Then on top of that, so let's say I start my project here. Let's say it's a photo shoot. Let's say I'm prepping and I start my clock or whatever, and then grab my camera bag and I'm out the door. Well, when I'm in the field, I have their app as well. So once I'm actually done, I can adjust the time from my phone with the app, and it syncs up between the two. So for me, that alone was a game changer because I do end up working from all over the place, doing lots of different projects. So to be able to just, pull up my phone and either adjust the time or start the time or stop the time was huge. The other thing too is clients really like to know what they're spending their money on. Some don't. Some will just pay you blindly. But most, especially the smaller clients,
they want a breakdown.
Where every penny is their penny, they want to know exactly what you did. So it's super easy just to say, okay, maybe it's discovery and research, and that's all you're doing. Maybe it's an hour of just discovery and research. You're researching ideas for maybe a logo. And then maybe the next entry is, set up and design I'd call it V1 for version 1 or first comp, right? So comprehensive look.
And
so
these are categories that you can preset. I set all of these up for Derek in there, and he just starts to type it in. It recognizes it, autofills it. It's so
I guess
fast.
What I'm trying to say though is like, from a client, like I don't need to write a paragraph about it. It's just a simple bullet point to show like, okay, I can see, the client can see, okay, set up a file, research. Yeah, I can see it took them a half an hour, or maybe it's, designed, 3 web pages or whatever it is. Like, that's all. Like, it's just a quick little, almost half sentence, and that's enough to kind of protect you. If they come back and say, well, where did you spend your time? What were you doing? If they want a detailed report, you can make it extremely detailed. If they just need to know a summation of what you spent on the week, I spent 30 hours this week, and that's all I want to know.
And a quick aside about that, Derek often gives way more information in his than is needed. So when I go back through and I pull all of his time and I say create an invoice from this date to this date, or for this project, I can select, do I want line item details? Do I want dates? How much information do I want it to show, depending on that client? Because I know that he doesn't necessarily know what each individual client wants, but I've talked to them and I know. And then it's just very easy for me to select that information. Boom, it's ready, send it. And then they have the option to either send us a check, send us cash, or pay us online with PayPal. Yep.
So on my website, derekmitchell.com/resources, we're going to have basically what we use for this. I'll have a link there for you to check out. Keep in mind, again, there are a lot of ways to track time. Another disclaimer, but this is just what we found that has worked really well for us. And we can actually put our name on it and recommend it. So,
Yeah, good luck.
All right, so in the next section.
Yes, okay. We're going to talk about building your brand and sharing your story. Because at the end of the day, we have found you're not just selling a service. You're selling your story, and you're selling the relationship that your clients will have with you. And it's so important to get it right from the very beginning.
Awesome. I'm excited for this
one.
Me
too. All right, guys, it is time to talk about telling your story and building your brand. Now, don't get too nervous about that. We're not talking about building a comprehensive, huge, brand for yourself right now. Although if you are motivated to do that, good job, go for it. But we're going to just talk a little bit about what you need to be able to prove to your potential clients that you're a legitimate designer and that you know what you're doing.
So I didn't know you were going to say that. I'm going to cut you off for just 2 seconds because I've got people who ask in the group, how do you, about what makes it a legitimate business or a legitimate brand? I've actually had that exact question. So
that's a great question.
My wife is also an English major.
I am.
So words are her thing. So what would you define as legitimate, a legitimate brand? What makes it legitimate?
Well, to answer that question, let's take it away from design for a minute and let's talk about any other industry. Let's say dentistry or a doctor. Let's say I need to find a new dentist or I need to find a new pediatrician for my child. How am I, as a service user, how am I going to figure out who I think is good enough for me to go to? So my process, as I'm sure everyone's process is I'm going to ask my friends, first of all, who do you use? Why do you like them? Secondly, I'm going to jump on Google, do a little recon. And from there, I am going to then Google stock the heck out of everything. Yeah. And I'm just going to look.
What are you looking for?
I'm going to look to see, for example, if it's a very established service provider like that, I want to know, do they have Google reviews? Do they have a website? It's a real red flag for me in this day and age, this mobile world that we live in, if they don't even have a Facebook page, or if they don't even have a website, or if they have a website and it hasn't been updated in 4 years. That's a real red flag for me. And so bringing that back then to the design world, I think what gives legitimacy to a business, even if it is a freelancing side hustle, is the attention that you've put in how you present yourself. So if a client is like wanting a business card made or they want a website made and they've heard about you from a friend or you've approached them and they're interested, I guarantee you the first thing that they're going to do is they're going to look you up online. They want to see what you've done before. They want to see what you're capable of. And they want to see, are they actually someone who does this, or am I like their very first one? And so I think there are so many ways that you can do this. You could have a full-fledged website.
Let's talk about that for just a second.
Okay.
Because that's going to discourage a lot of you because they're learning this and they don't have any of that. They don't have any of that yet. Right?
They don't.
So what comes first, the chicken or the egg? How do you get all this library of work? Prove it. Like you know in your mind you can do this. You've come through the course. You get how to use the software. That's not the issue right now. The issue is convincing a stranger that even though you don't have anything yet, that you can do the work.
Okay.
Right?
So that feeds into a point that we're going to talk about later, but we can dive into it now. And that point is the fact that you are not just selling your ability to deliver a service, you're selling your story. We have gotten a majority of the work over the last decade that we've won has been because they liked us, they liked what we were passionate about, and because they thought that they could build a relationship with who we are, not just because they thought that we could do the job well. Granted, you should be able to do the job well. I mean, you that is a huge part of getting referrals down the line, but how you present yourself and how you tell your story, that is so huge. So if you don't have a huge portfolio yet, don't worry.
No.
I mean, you're going to get there. So
quick tangent.
While
he's do all the time. But if you don't have a story yet,
yes.
The graphic design exercise book. Okay, this is a cool book and it's about $30, but it gives you all kinds of what they call design prompts for different projects, like packaging, letterhead, what else we got in here? Page layout. Okay, so if you don't have a portfolio yet, you don't know what to make, buy this book and do a bunch of the exercises, right?
Because
and then
you'll
have stuff to show.
To have gotten paid from an actual client to be able to say, I did this work.
That's true.
And if you've done Bootcamp 1, you have a poster project. What else do they have?
Let's see. We did logo design. We did...
Yeah. Did they do a brochure?
They did a brochure. We did some web graphics.
You guys already have some great stuff under your belt that you've already done. And so circling this back then to what do you need for your initial brand? Maybe you want to go crazy and you want to set up an entire brand with like a big website and go for it. That's awesome. Bare minimum, a few ideas I have for you would be a Behance portfolio. Or perhaps, what could they do? An Instagram account.
I was going to say, honestly, right now, today, I would recommend Instagram. Yeah. I'd say post your work on Instagram. Tell people, make it an easy, whatever your at's going to be.
It takes, 30 seconds to set up an account?
I would start there because then you're not going to get buried with how to create a website and stuff like that, which we honestly, shameless plug, have a WordPress Blitz course you can check out on Udemy. If you want to really do the full website right now, that's awesome. I'd start with the My Portfolio Adobe site. But number one, we're building your brand. If you don't have a logo, I've talked about this before, Sharpie it out. Like just create a signature with a Sharpie, bring it into Illustrator, digitize it, throw it up there. Like you can recreate yourself often, but you got to start. Just start.
You got to start somewhere.
Just start.
And with that, I want to also say another great option is a Facebook business page. I have a friend who is an amazing photographer. And for years, all that she had was that Facebook page. Yeah, and people could message her directly. It came up in Google searches really well for her. And that was a great way for her to connect with people.
Just think of it as it's a stepping stone. You're not going to have, honestly, we've been doing this for 10, 12 years, whatever it's been. I still feel like I don't have everything together that I wish we did. Just being honest. But that didn't stop us from doing it. So I would just say start today. Start with wherever you can. Set up an Instagram
somewhere.
page. Whatever.
Start somewhere. Just do something. And when you are telling your story, and this is the really, really important part that I know you struggled with, it's easy for creatives to think, well, what do I have to say about me? I make stuff that's cool, the end. But I think it's important. Clients want to know what you're passionate about. They want to be able to trust that you care about what they are doing. And a huge part of that is eye contact. Your first meeting, are you looking them in the eye? Honesty. If they ask you a question or ask you if you can do something and you're not sure that you can, it's not a bad thing to be like, I'm not sure, but I can figure that out.
Yeah. Let me take a look and I'll get back to you.
Let me take a look and I'll get back to you. Yeah. And just honesty and vulnerability and just being real with people goes so far. So far. Do you have anything else?
Those are the big things, I think, for this section of talking about branding. All right, so what's next?
Next, we're going to talk about finding work this week.
Awesome.
Okay.
All right, let's do it. All right, this is a lecture / challenge / homework.
Yes.
It's finding work this week.
Yep.
All right, how are we going to do it? How are they going to do it?
How are you going to do it? All right, so we have a few options. First, hit up the people that you know. Friends, family, etc.
The people that you know now who you don't want to be friends with later. If it's your first project and you mess it up real bad. No? Okay.
And I think this circles into a bigger topic, just asking for work. If you go to a certain coffee shop all the time and you notice that, holy cow, their website has not been updated in 4 years. Hey guys, I come here all the time. I love what you do. I love what you're about. I noticed your site's outdated. Curious if you've ever thought about hiring someone to update it for you. If so, I'd love to talk to you more about that. Right? It's as easy as that. You don't need to feel weird about it or awkward about it.
It's actually how we got a lot of our work.
Exactly. And it goes back to what we talked about earlier. You're selling your story and your relationship. So how you come across matters. If you honestly care about what they're doing and you think that you could do a really good job, that earnestness and that honesty is going to come across in how you communicate to them. And you never know. Worst thing that they could say is no. Best thing they could say, yes.
So more than once, that's happened to me. I've literally...
Yep.
I'm trying to think of the first scenario. Okay, so I remember where I was going or why, but I ended up... There was a parking spot open right in front of their building. It was on Main Street. And busy road, busy time. And I was looking, like I looked nice. I had a nice shirt on. I had another meeting with somebody and I was like, I'm just going to pull in and just introduce myself. And so I pulled into the parking spot, walked in, and I had, actually I had this with me.
He's going to get more stuff.
Get more stuff on
Show
my
and
shelf.
tell.
Show and tell. No, so I've got, this is a black leather folio, and it's got a lot of cool, this is super tangent, I'm so sorry. I keep project files in here. It's got like 3 or 4 different dividers. But in the back, usually there's a lined notebook and a pen, usually. And so I walked in and I had this. So it looks professional. It's just a nice leather thing. It's super simple.
Better than a backpack or something like that.
But I at least looked like I knew what I was doing, even though I was very green.
Yes.
So I walked in and I was like, hi, my name's Derek. And I was just driving by. I'm a web, let me see. This was a web project. So I was like, hey, I'm a web developer and I don't know if you guys have a website or not. I haven't been able to check it out, but I'm just curious if you we're looking for anybody to make any updates on your website. And they're like, well, actually, we were just talking about that, like literally that day or like within the last couple of days. And so I got their information and that's how the conversation started. It was really basic. I didn't promise anything yet. I didn't ask for anything yet. I was like, hey, I just want to introduce myself and just see if there's anything I could help you with.
Right. And at the end of the day, it is important not to hard sell.
Yeah.
If you're walking in somewhere, if you're making a cold call or a cold contact like that, don't oversell, don't overpromise. You are making an initial contact, of which, on average, I have found there's at least 2 to 4 before you decide to work together.
It's true.
And you always want to have a few of those in your pipeline.
Okay.
Because you never know when they're going to pan out. But for this week, for finding work this week, so you're going to talk to people that you know. You're going to maybe try to make a few of these cold contacts, okay? You are going to look at free sites such as Craigslist, Behance, Tongle. All of these have no cost to you to go look at jobs that are posted. You might have to sign up with your email, but stuff for creatives is posted always on an ongoing basis. We have gotten work from 2, if not 3 of those sites regularly before. Now, a caveat, it may not be the hourly rate or the project rate that you want. You might take a little bit of a hit on that on your first few, and that's okay, because if you do great work, more work will follow. And that is honestly just creative karma.
Now,
I truly believe in that.
I believe that too, but more of the same work will follow, typically. So before you go knocking on a door to find any kind of work, think for a minute about what you like.
What you want to be doing.
If you want to be an animator, don't go sell yourself on, I can make you a business card. You're going to hate yourself.
Because whatever you do a lot of, you're going to find yourself doing a lot more of.
Yep. So think about that. If you want to do websites, then sell websites. So as you're asking friends and family, that's a great safe place, maybe, I hope, for you to start working on your sales pitch, is asking, even if it's your parents or whatever, just saying, hey, I'm really working hard to be a graphic designer. I'm wondering, could I make a poster for your business, or could I make, something for you? And I always refer to posters, but honestly, whatever creatively
whatever it is
you think you can make based off of what you've learned from us or some other courses you might be taking, cross that with, what would be of value to the marketplace, right? So that's how I would approach this as you go working on your sales presentation, again, in those safe environments of friends and family before you reach out to total strangers.
And as you are doing this, whether it's friends and family, people that you know who are business owners, people that you don't know, maybe it's a cold call, think in terms of seasons and trends and things like that. As things start ramping up towards Christmas, stores change their displays, they change their advertising, they change things like that. It happens again after the new year. Things start leading up towards Valentine's Day and Easter. So there's always a need for things, and especially if you can think ahead what's coming. Oh, have you created X, Y, and Z for Valentine's Day yet? If not, I'd love to make you a flyer, or you know what I mean? Yeah. And that shows them not just that, oh, yeah, we might need to do that, but then they also subconsciously are realizing, wow, this person knows a lot about this. They know what they're doing. So there's that. Then we get, or do you want to say something first?
Well, I was just going to say, that reminded me, that first project where I walked in with my leather binder and everything, we ended up, just to close that story, we ended up doing business with them, and it was a trade. So that's something you might consider too, is you don't always have to figure out what the compensation will be. It might be something that you're interested in. Another client we work with is a golf course. And so I get to walk on the golf course anytime I want. Like, I own the place, and I don't have to pay any greens fees. I just show up and I make web updates for them, and I go play golf. And my Gramps gets to go play with us, and your dad comes and plays. My dad comes and plays, and we all get to walk on the golf course. So, and
it's a win-win, because they didn't want to spend the money that it cost on it. But for us to golf there is so cheap for that. So thinking about
it literally cost them nothing to have us walk on the course.
We've had similar trades.
But for us, it was a big value.
With chiropractors and with dentists. And it's not a great way to, I wouldn't say build all of your
I wouldn't trade everything.
Then you don't get money. But it is an interesting option to consider. So let's talk about the last kind of way you could find work this week. And that is to, if you are so inclined, enroll into a paid work posting sites such as Upwork or FlexJobs. We have gotten a ton of work from these sites. However, it is labor intensive.
Now, it's labor intensive because you're not the only person trying to win that project. We were bidding against hundreds?
Sometimes, but usually dozens of other people.
Let's say 30 other people who are equally qualified trying to win this project. So it's very difficult to prove yourself.
Yes.
And
you have to do a lot more percentage-wise so that you statistically get 1 or 2 jobs. However, they're not
I feel like there's 2 ways to play that for us. Either you're the cheapest, which isn't a good way to do business, or for us, we were like the most expensive. So they're like, well, they must know what they're doing. Like anything in the middle gray area, I feel like gets lost from what I saw.
It definitely can. But when you do work for these, you have to put in what's called a little proposal usually. And again, this is just you telling your story. You're sharing what you're good at, what you're experienced in, what your vision for their particular project would be. You're laying it all out there in a way that you hopefully will catch their attention.
Awesome.
Yeah. Good.
Yeah.
If you have any questions, also make sure that through all of this that you're messaging the Facebook group or reaching out to us through the message boards. We're here to help you.
We can also send out some proposal templates that we have. Go to derekmitchell.com/resources, or we'll attach them to this video as well. So it'll kind of help you get started.
Okay. Last lecture coming up next. We're going to talk about, so you landed work, but now what?
Awesome.
Yeah.
All right.
Thanks,
guys. All right, everybody. I sincerely hope you took us up on that challenge in the last video where we want you to find work this week. So for those of you who did, actually, you probably just rolled from that video to this one. So you haven't done it yet, but I believe you're going to. So once you land that job,
tell us about it.
Now what? All right. So they've won the work.
Tell us about it, though.
How?
On the Facebook group.
On the Facebooks. On the internet.
Yes, we love hearing all about how you guys are doing. Like, it makes our day. If I am, commenting on the group and someone posts like, hey, I just got my first logo design project or something like that, I get so excited and I tell you, I'm like, it is honestly, nothing makes us happier than seeing you guys find success at this. It is, we're just so blown away, that these courses that Derek makes and that I make impact your guys' lives. We've heard about your kids and we've heard about, how you were able to change careers. We've heard so many amazing stories, and it's just so humbling and so wonderful. And thank you so much for letting us be a part of your lives. And we love hearing about it. So keep it coming.
But for those of you who are watching this and that hasn't happened for you yet, I believe it will. And I know you can. So let's talk about once they do. They land that work.
Yes, you've got that first job. Number one, you silly creatives, and I'm speaking to you also.
What?
You have to be disciplined or time will get away from you.
I know what you're talking about.
The most beautiful thing about people who think very creatively is that you guys are just very free and you are in the moment and you're excited about what you're doing, and just time can get away from you. It's not a bad thing, but you have to rein it in or you're not going to make any money doing this. Do you agree?
That's true.
That is so true. So a good way to do that is, again, with time tracking, like we talked about. Also, we super, super, super highly recommend setting up project milestones, okay? This does two things.
Do you know why milestones are important?
Two things. Why?
Okay, think about any schoolwork you've ever done, college, high school, or other. When did you start that project? The night before. How long did you stress about it?
The whole time leading up to it.
And if you had one more day, you'd be like, man, I would have just crushed this.
Yeah.
Every single time. And it's the same in business. I approach all my projects the same way. I try not to now. I've gotten a lot better.
Right. It only goes two ways. You either are going to procrastinate or you're going to spend way too much time. So you need two kinds of milestones. You need deliverables milestones where you lay out for the client, okay, I am creating this logo. I estimate it will take us 2.5 weeks to complete. By this day, I will have the first round of looks to you. By this day, your feedback is due. By this day, round 2 is due, and so on and so forth, all the way until you get to the very end, and hold yourself to that. So that's the first milestone. And then I also recommend breaking up whatever the total project budget is going to be to correspond with those. So, for example, if we're making a logo and we're charging, say, $500 for it. $1,000 for it, round number. Okay. We're making this logo, and let's say that there are 4 deliverables. There's round 1, round 2, round 3, and final deliverable. Okay, we would have the initial deposit. We would have something due after round 1, probably something due after round 3, and then something due upon final deliverable. Is that accurate?
Yeah, and why do we do that?
We do that because, sadly, all too often, people won't pay you.
Why won't they pay us?
They won't pay you because once they have the stuff from you, it's no longer a priority to them anymore.
So they won't pay you for one of a couple reasons. So you're right. Okay, so either they get the idea.
Sometimes they're terrible people.
Sometimes they're awful people. Sometimes as designers, we aren't good enough. Yep. That hurts.
That hurts too.
And we didn't meet the need, and so they realize real quick.
Yep.
Never mind. You send them the first look and they haven't paid you anything yet, and all of a sudden it's radio silence. The other reason why they might not pay you is, as an entrepreneur, maybe they didn't plan ahead well and they didn't budget well. Right. And let's say this project spreads out for a couple months. So when they started with you, things were good. They had investors or backing. They had the money to do the project.
2 months later,
they're excited about it. A couple months later, they're maybe not going as well as they thought they were, and you've just done maybe the second or third look, and they've paid you. and all signs have been good. So you've gotten a little bit of money, but let's say you're done and the project is, you're ready to gift wrap it and give it to them. And then you don't hear anything back. You don't hear anything back.
That happens.
And a lot of times they don't do that because they know as soon as they contact you, payments due also.
Yes.
So that's why breaking up into milestones lets you see earlier, sooner than later, if there's any kind of an issue.
Yeah. It protects both of you. And honestly, it makes you look like a hero because it makes you look like you know what you're doing. You have everything together. You have a plan. And it's...
As far as having the milestone set up.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. And I would say always, always, always ask for money up front. Even if it's just $50 to kick the project off, because then they are mentally and financially invested.
So we're going to put some, in this video, we'll put some verbiage that we say, because that's difficult, especially as a creative. I had a hard time asking for money.
You'll see that in the proposal samples that we've given.
It'll say something along the lines of, we can't wait to get started. We're so excited. Once we receive your deposit of X amount, we'll be able to dive in. We can't wait.
We'll dive right in.
And that way they know that way it's clear to them, like, oh, like they're not starting until they get paid.
Right.
And you don't have to say it like, you don't have to say, we're not starting until we get paid. We say, we're so excited. Once we receive the deposit, then we'll begin the work.
And you also want to make sure never to give final files until final payment has been received, or if you've had multiple payment milestones up till then and you know that, you have a good relationship with them, then maybe I would. But it just protects both parties.
Honestly, once they have the files, they'll say things like, now we're on a tangent. I'm sorry, but this is just real world business. Any company, if they needed printer ink or if they needed anything, they could have a check or they could have a credit card and they could have whatever that company needed that day. Mm-hmm. But if you send an invoice with net 30 or net 60 or whatever, basically it's your payment terms, how many days until it's, quote, late, right? So maybe they have 30 days to pay you once you've given them the final files. Guess how motivated they are to pay you once they have the files? Not very big. Well, we have to talk to accounting. We have to send it through so-and-so. I have to get approved from my boss, whatever the case may be, which might be true. But if you say, awesome, can't wait, I've got the files ready, here's the invoice, let me know once you've sent that check, or I'll see once you made that payment, I'll be able to ship you the files, no problem. Well, guess what? That lights a fire under their tail to get you paid, and I know they can get you paid. So it's just part of it's the game of business, right? It's just part of what we've experienced. May or may not be the case for you, but those are kind of some of the games you got to play to get paid, or you might not get paid because it's just how it works.
Life happens.
We've been not paid.
Don't be afraid to ask for your money.
Yeah.
It's your money.
All right. Is that all for the section? Do we have more?
So lastly, I want to challenge all of you, if you're thinking about starting a side hustle or becoming a freelancer, to not be afraid to think about your goals for the future right now. It's okay to think beyond your first job. It's okay to think beyond your first year in business. And I recommend thinking at least 3 to 5 years out.
You know what though? 3 to 5. So sorry, but the creative in me, like, I know my people, they're not going to want to start, or at least me, I didn't want to start until I knew I had it perfect.
Yes.
So,
but I'm not saying that this is a plan you have to stick to. I'm saying daydream a little. How would you like to see your life in 3 to 5 years? What if you could travel a few weeks out of the year? What if, for example, you could get to a place in your business where you weren't doing the stuff you didn't like to do, the invoicing, things like that, and you could outsource that to someone else so that you had more time to do the actual design that you actually care about. Thinking about this is super important, because otherwise what happens is we become a slave to our comfort zone. And before we know it, we're no longer striving for anything more because we're content with what we have right now. And it is okay to be content with where you are if you're there on purpose. There's been a lot of times where Derek and I are like, okay, how do we see our next year going? And we think about it and we're like, we love the track we're on right now. Like, this is great. This is good. And then we can be okay with it knowing we're not settling for where we are, but we were intentional about it. And then there's been other times where we're like, no, like, we're super motivated. We want to achieve X, Y, and Z in the next couple years. And then we've laid that out also. But I think the whole thing is being intentional about this, because nothing good happens by chance.
It's true. Well, that's true.
It takes hard work, guys. This doesn't happen overnight. But honestly, you know that. You've put in the time. You've taken these courses, not just from us, but I know a lot of you have taken tons of courses from many other Udemy professors, because You want something different and better for your life. So the challenge is now to continue that motivation, to continue putting in that effort, and good things are going to happen.
It's true. And then I'd say, of course, building up your network. So I was fortunate to have Jenna alongside me because as an emotional creative, it's easy to let your mind wander. It's easy to let things kind of keep you down, and maybe your motivation wanes. Maybe you're excited about the project, you land the deposit, but then you got to do the work, and it's tough. So having those milestones, you've landed the work, now what? Like having those milestones to keep you honest, to keep you motivated. If that doesn't work for motivation, maybe finding a good friend, or maybe joining like the Graphic Designers Guild. There's like different groups,
ideas off of
especially
other.
Those of you who are in bigger cities. There's a lot of, whether it's an Adobe group or there's a lot, like we're in Montana. There's really not a lot for us here. I've got some friends that I Skype with and talk to on the phone who are in some bigger cities we can bounce ideas off of. But finding that support network is going to keep you alive. It's going to keep you thriving. So do that. Yeah. Awesome. All right. So is there anything else for this video before we close this one out?
I think we're good. Just go out there, find some work, do it well, be excited. Awesome.
Thanks so much for watching. I hope you learned a lot in this section. I know it's totally different than most of our teaching styles. It's fun to have this conversational side convo with you during the instruction. So hope you learned a lot. I'd love to hear what you've learned. Be sure to comment in our Facebook group and let us know how it's going. All right. Thanks for watching, guys.